Welcome to Uncensored Conservatism. This is episode number 270, and this is kind of interesting here. So recently I came across this article on Politico that I thought was a somewhat serious political news outlet, although it is certainly to the left of center. That article was by some dude named Bill Scher, who also writes for the Washington Monthly. So I looked at some of his past articles before I delved into this one. And for example, he has this gem from December 2018 with an article titled, "Which Candidates Won in 2018?" He's referring to the Democrats, and his biggest winner, Beto O'Rourke, the candidate that managed to lose a Senate race to Ted Cruz and a gubernatorial race to Greg Abbott. He's such a winner, he even got knocked out by a senile Joe Biden in 2020's presidential sweepstakes. So calling O'Rourke a winner is sort of like, I don't know, calling Stacey Abrams in Georgia a winner. But this is Bill Scher for you, and I won't bore you with any of his other past articles, and instead concentrate on the current one. As I said, I thought Politico was sort of a serious political rag, but the fact they actually published this article moves Politico into Babylon B territory, or maybe even The Onion. And the name of the article? 21 Unexpected Heavy Hitters for a Democratic Shadow Cabinet. And as silly as the title sounds, the names are even funnier. So let's start with Samantha Power as Secretary of State, as opposed to the I don't give a shit anymore, straight-talking and principled Marco Rubio. Now, the former UN ambassador under Barack Obama managed to shiv Israel in the back on their way out the door in 2016. She's up to her eyeballs in the Trump-Russia collusion hoax. She was also head of the U.S. Agency for International Development, which we've learned was a tremendous grift. Now, Scher cites a Pew Research poll showing that 83% of Americans support providing medicine and medical supplies to foreign countries, and 78% support sending food and clothing. Now, that's all well and good if that's what U.S. aid was doing. But they weren't. They were spending your money on teaching Peruvians how to raise llamas, of all animals, and supporting sex change transitions in foreign countries. So it doesn't really matter how much foreign policy expertise you have if your name is Samantha Power, because if that policy sucks, it really doesn't make a difference. At the Treasury Department, he names Lena Khan, who formerly chairs the Federal Trade Commission. So both J.D. Vance and Steve Bannon have talked nicely of her efforts in the Biden administration. Her credentials to Scher: she's appeared on MSNBC to trash Trump about his tariff proposals. At the Defense Department, it's Charles C.Q. Brown Jr., who was axed by Trump. His credentials: he was the second black chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Yep, that's it. He's black. Oh, and Brown recorded a video about discrimination in the military after the death of fentanyl addict George Floyd. He then goes into a list of the alleged sins of Pete Hegseth, many since debunked. It even gets better because as Attorney General, Scher suggests New York State Attorney General Letitia James. I mean, seriously, why? Well, I guess Stacey Abrams wasn't available for a fat-ass black woman to be Attorney General. He then calls her a role model of the resistance, which is sort of like David Hogg as a role model for young men. Anyway, at the Interior Department, former Montana Senator John Tester, he had the infinitely large head. I say former because he managed to lose his Senate seat in 2024. And why Tester? Because he's from Montana, so he could speak to rural Americans, sort of like David Hogg speaking to young males. Or Tampon Tim, talking to Midwesterners, right? For Agriculture Secretary, he names John Boyd Jr., founder of the National Black Farmers Association, who apparently got his 40 acres and a mule, and the fact he's a black farmer makes him qualified, I guess. I don't know. Commerce Secretary, good God, Mark Cuban. Why? Because he has 1 million followers on Blue Sky, a liberal echo chamber. Yep. Oh, and he's taken on Elon Musk. And, Democrats don't like Musk. Another selling point to Scher, he was one of the biggest surrogates for Kamala Harris, who happened to lose in 2024, so he was a surrogate for a loser. This is the dark horse at the Labor Department, Bobby Olvera Jr. So who the hell is he? He's the head of the International Longshoremen and Warehouse Union. And that's just what we need, a union president in charge of the Labor Department. I mean, seriously, I got a better idea. How about Jimmy Hoffa? At Health and Human Services, Hawaii Governor Josh Green. And the reason? He's a doctor. So here's the thing. It's Health and Human Services, which is basically welfare. So because you're a doctor does not mean you'll be a great guardian of the largest bureaucracy in the government, even if you are the governor of friggin' Hawaii. And I'm not some anti-vaxxer, but this guy reeks of vaccines on steroids. I mean, safety be damned. And Housing and Urban Development, urban planner Jeff Speck, who wants us all to walk. Seriously, he wrote a book called The Walkable City. I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, how are these people supposed to walk to their landscaping or roofing job? Come on. At the Transportation Department, Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connell. This was the last mayor to hold this job, and enough said. Mary Barra is his choice for Energy Secretary. Why? Well, she's the CEO of General Motors, and she loves her some electric vehicles. To the left is all about the electric vehicles, except those of, this guy. For Education Secretary is Arizona Governor Katie Hobbs. Hobbs loves her some DEI in schools and some transgender athletes. And she dislikes school vouchers for private schools, which begs the question, why are leftists afraid of private schools? It couldn't be that they show up public schools academically. Could it now? Okay, so this next one is just fucking hilarious. Jon Stewart. Yes, that Jon Stewart, to head the Veterans Administration. Now, he may have been relevant about 20 years ago, but a few monologues about veterans is not a qualification to be an advocate for veterans. So, I don't know. How about, I don't know, for a Veterans Affair? Maybe an actual veteran? Yeah. As bizarre as Jon Stewart is, how about Giselle Fetterman at Homeland Security? Why? Well, she's an illegal immigrant brought to this country from Brazil at the tender age of 6. Of course, Scher has to go there on some of the recent baggage intended to tarnish her husband, Pennsylvania Senator John Fetterman, who I like to refer to Lurch. In fact, Giselle makes a perfect Morticia to John's Lurch. And it gets even more amusing. Bill Nye, the science guy at the EPA. All right, first of all, the guy has a degree in engineering. Secondly, he's about as smart as the fake Professor Proton character on the TV show Big Bang Theory. So everything to him is now climate change. And he's him and Tim Walsh should get together for weirdness. At the OMB, Kansas Governor Laura Kelly, because, you're from Kansas, you can talk to Midwestern or farmer people or something like that. Sort of like, this guy, right? He suggests Abigail Spanberger at the CIA. Why? Because she used to be a spook herself, he says. I don't know how that worked out with this asshole in the CIA. And he wasn't even a spook, just a pencil pusher. And last but certainly least, at the Small Business Administration, comedian Nikki Glasser, it seems she has the ability to roast people, expertise be damned. Okay, so I don't really buy because you have expertise in a particular area, you could be the leader of that department. But Mr. Scher does, and maybe he meant this article as a joke, but the bottom line is he's a joke. And that's pretty much it. I mean, if this is what the Democrats want to go with, and they think it's cool, go for it and keep losing. Thanks. Have a great day. More Pleasant tomorrow.